With only 4 days left before the Florida primary, the Republican presidential candidates came out swinging in last night's debate.
Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich are fighting for frontrunner status and momentum going into Tuesday's test. David Brody has this look at the feisty debate.
Fourth quarter in Florida, and Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich are not only fighting over who's the better GOP candidate, they're fighting over pretty much everything, starting with immigration.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not anti-immigrant. My father was born in Mexico. My wife's father was born in Wales. They came to this country. The idea that I'm anti-immigrant is repulsive.
You tell me what language you would use to describe somebody who thinks that deporting a grandmother or a grandfather from their family. Just tell me the language. I'm perfectly happy for you to explain what language you'd use.
The Romney versus Gingrich aggression continued into a heated discussion over the space program, an important issue in Florida because thousands of jobs are up in the air, depending on the future of NASA.
I do not want to be the country that, having gotten to the moon first, turned around and said, it doesn't really matter. Let the Chinese dominate space. What do we care? I think that is a path of national decline, and I am for America being a great country, not a country in decline.
If I had a business executive come to me and say they wanted to spend a few $100 billion to put a colony on the moon, I'd say you're fired.
I don't think we should go to the moon. I think we maybe should send some politicians up there.
It even got personal at times.
Maybe Governor Romney, in the spirit of openness, should tell us how much money he's made off of how many households that have been foreclosed by his investments. But let's be clear about that.
You also have investments through mutual funds that also invest in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
To compare my investments with his is like comparing a tiny mouse with a giant elephant.
While Gingrich and Romney tackled each other, Rick Santorum, who continues to trail the frontrunners, called for a timeout.
Can we set aside that Newt was a member of Congress and used the skills that he developed as a member of Congress to go out and advise companies, and that's not the worst thing in the world, and that Mitt Romney is a wealthy guy because he worked hard and he's going out and working hard, and you should guys leave that alone and focus on the issue.
Polls show Romney and Gingrich in a tight race in Florida. Both hope for a victory to gain momentum in the upcoming primaries and caucuses. Florida voters will make their call on Tuesday. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
Are you ready to rumble? We seem to be into a no-holds-barred primary, and I've said it for years, politics is a blood sport these days. It really is. Take no prisoners. Let's leave no reputation intact. Let's really try to take the other guy, not just win, but take him out. I just hope at the end of all of this, they're ready for yet another battle, which is the general election. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom. Lee?
Gordon, at least 6 Americans are now being prevented from leaving Egypt. One of them is the son of U.S. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood. The travel ban comes as part of an Egyptian investigation into foreign democracy programs working in the country. Egyptian officials have raised questions about the funding of some of those groups. Some in the Egyptian military accuse those groups of starting protests against the Egyptian government. The U.S. says the ban, though, could jeopardize American aid to Egypt. The Obama administration wants military spending slashed by nearly $500 billion over the next decade. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta outlined his plan for what he calls painful cuts at the Pentagon. It would eliminate 100,000 ground troops, and it terminates dozens of weapons programs. The president will also ask Congress to approve a new round of domestic base closures. There's little chance that lawmakers would agree to that in a presidential election year. Panetta says the plan shifts the Pentagon's focus from Iraq and Afghanistan. Instead, the U.S. will closely watch future challenges in Asia, the Middle East, and cyberspace. Still, Republicans aren't happy. They say the plan will leave American forces stretched too thin to handle security threats worldwide. Well, the weak economy is not stopping American workers from buying one of their favorite indulgences, coffee. A business personnel firm called Accounting Principles discovered we spend an average of $1,000 a year on coffee while we're on the job, and workers spend nearly $2,000 a year on lunch. I can understand the lunch part of that, but $1,000 a year, Gordon, on coffee, that's pretty high.
See, I can understand the coffee, but I can't understand the lunch.
Well, you work for an employer who gives you coffee free.
I do?
Isn't that a...
Yes, I do.
But I have a machine in my office just in case that ever changes.
Oh, so you got a supplement.
Yes,
our
exactly.
coffee's not good enough for you. You've got to go to the special coffee. We seem to be addicted to the high-end coffee. You just look at the stock price of Starbucks recently, and it's hitting a 52-week high, all because we seem to want our cup of Joe, and then we've got to spend $4 for it.